Yeah, and especially because if they're going to lose, you probably want to lose by a chunk of a score and have gone after 65 minutes or so.
You could legitimately leave 5 minutes early and get warmed up in the car.
And not feel too bad about it because it wasn't just about the result.
Yeah, but thanks for getting in touch again, Scoots. Always a pleasure. Cutthroat Jake said, now that game was a lot better. Great performances from Jordan Lilly, showing skill, quick reactions and sheer bloody-mindedness to score his try and kick the goal. And JJB, who seemed to make more metres going backwards than some did going forwards. Langer said Leeds ground out the win in tough conditions, but Hull will be ruining missed opportunities. Still lots to play for this season. Sidebar, how did Jordan Lilly get to stay on the pitch while losing all that blood?
Well, this was actually one of the Ask Sky RL questions that was put to Stuart Cummins after the game, and his answer was because he was kicking a goal, there was no threat to any other players from this bleeding. Therefore,
and then they patched him up.
He was allowed to do it till the kick had gone over and the player was dead, and then he'd be patched up. I guess if he wasn't the kicker, he would have been getting sorted out whilst the kick was going over.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think
so I think that's the answer. Although whether or not that's the answer people want to hear, I don't know.
I don't see why not. There you go. I think that's more than satisfied any questions I would have had about it. I just assumed that was the reason why. Okay, Al Witts, do you think JJB heard the early season criticism, which I agreed with? He is rolling back the years, fair play to JJB.
He really looked a bit lost when he played against Wigan and had a few nasty sort of interventions because he didn't seem up to the pace of the game and stuff, so threw himself around a little bit where he wasn't supposed to. But since then, he's really got back to fitness. Maybe the extended break has done him good, in fact.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Been in the stats roundup every game since then.
Yeah.
So
England call it?
No.
I'm kidding. Oh, sometimes I say these things just to like throw you a little bait, but I didn't even like myself for doing that. Right, Scott Lister, the king of Facebook, he said the first week Leeds got their training facilities back. We come away with a scrappy win. Let's see how the players play now with their routine back in the upcoming weeks. I didn't realise they got it back that week. Fair play. I might have to change one of my predictions. Brian Davies said bad weather usually helps the lesser teams, and it's certainly worked.
The training gown thing can be a bit overblown. Like you were saying, it's not like they're not going to find other facilities within the city.
Yeah. Bad weather usually helps the lesser teams, said Brian Davis, and it certainly worked for Leeds as the rain negated the skill advantage that Hull have. Still, it's good for the game that these plucky sides like Leeds get a win now and again. It'll give them confidence as they head into the middle eights later this year.
Brilliant, Brian.
Oh, my life. My favourite moment of the podcast this year, I would say, that tweet. Well done.
Well, it's not the first one of those we've had, is it?
No, it's very good.
It's been good. It's been good the last few weeks. Keep them coming.
To read that one out and actually have it tickle me whilst I'm reading it was tremendous. Okay, Phil, who was keen to tell us that he's Phil96 off Twitter, said it was a hard-fought game of rugby under awful weather conditions. The Rhinos ended a 4-game losing streak against an in-form Hull FC team, largely thanks to a man-of-the-match-inspired performance by Jordan Lilly, who scored his first try and kicked 100% for fun, and also had his nose broken. The passion was to be seen throughout the Rhinos team.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. John Hamilton said, thrilling game in awful conditions. Golding did well as Hull tried to test him with kicks, and Hanley had plenty of gas left in the final seconds. Thought we were done when Big Frank reappeared, but thanks to Tom for tipping against us at last. Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? Well,
you know, if training grounds aren't to blame for defeats,
it's my tipping. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. Andy Scrimshaw, fair play to Leeds. They were desperate for those points and just about deserved it. Had it not rained, I think FC would have won comfortably. If Hull aim to win anything this year, though, they need to be more ruthless in games such as this. That is good, Scrimshaw. Paul Lewis, awful conditions, but I think that may have helped Leeds here. I still think they'll make the 8s, but not the top 4. By the way, how many times have Leeds, Saints and Wigan been on this year already? It's like I have 4 season tickets if you include my Widnes one. Well, yeah, they will get a lot. They will be on TV a lot. That's because generally they're involved in the more interesting games because they're the better sides.
We had this come in, didn't we? Like the other way around. Like how many times have they not been on TV?
Yeah.
And we looked through the last couple of seasons, and there's been a few. Yeah. It's more difficult in the Super 8s, obviously, because you've got 2 games from 4 getting put on the TV.
Yeah.
And you've got to sort of think there's the Catalan games for them away. My missus actually thinks Catalan are on TV all the time, and she just can't cope with the idea that I'm not that like Catalan aren't the main team because they're always on TV.
I just know it's just because we get the French.
She's like, yeah, I have explained this, but she seems to forget every time.
Why they on again?
But mostly because they've been away the last 2 weeks, but on TV, haven't they?
So
to
that
get their
ups
share of Thursday
the
games.
amount, yeah. True.
Anyway,
Zootalaw. Okay, final game of the weekend then was also on Friday night as Wigan Warriors got back to winning ways with a 26 points. Who scored 62 points? With a 26 points to 12 win over the Castleford Tigers, showing that they can in fact score against teams from the 5 towns. You were there, Mark. Tell me about this game.
Yeah, to be honest, in the first half an hour, I couldn't see anything but a Wigan defeat. Castleford seemed to be winning every contact. Wigan were plucky, I would say, but that's about it. We were conceding a few too many penalties in that period as well. But then we had a sustained period of pressure where we couldn't score. Cast defended their own line pretty well. There was a couple of bits of luck for them within that, I would suggest, but by and large they made their own luck. And that was really a strong period for them, and you sort of thought that might tell in the end as a positive, but actually it possibly took quite a bit out of the Cast side when I look back on it, because in the second half, particularly the last 25 minutes, half an hour, Wigan were almost mistake free, seemed to gain more energy and finished the game a lot stronger with a far better side in the second half and deserved the win, really. Castleford, the play sort of broke down outside of Gale. Young Tom Holmes didn't have much of an impact. I think Wigan were able to bottle him up quite well, and maybe the most significant part of the game from him was the kick out on the full, which gave Wigan field position midway through the second half to score the John Bateman's first try. Yeah, John Bateman's first try, and that got Wigan back into a lead that they never then lost. There was a couple of moments. Luke Gale got sin-binned for quite fiercely demonstrating how he thought Lee Mossop had knocked on in a speculative pass that he flung out in the lead up to Wigan's first try. Then he had quite a bit of a chat at the ref when Wigan were given a penalty against Wigan for dissent, basically saying they should get 10 minutes too. It didn't seem quite as forceful as what had happened there. And the other Luke Gale incident was when he clearly nearly died on the first kick of the game, because he was laid out cold for about 4 seconds until the referee gave a penalty. So yeah, I wasn't that impressed with Luke Gale's antics in this one. It was a penalty, don't get me wrong, but he miraculously jumped up after appearing to be laid out cold. Yeah, but it was a penalty. And yeah, I just think credit to Wigan for a plucky performance. It wasn't fantastic. Matty Smith, who I've slagged off quite a bit recently, including on this show last week, got things together a bit more. Some of his kicking was a bit too deep, but I think they were expecting more mistakes out of Rocky Hampshire than they actually got. Who was quite good under the high kicks, and obviously some of the kicks to John Monaghan's wing were a bit stupid because they went high rather than low. You want to get that guy turning around and dipping and moving to get the ball, and they didn't do that. But in-game kicking from his own half or from around that patch of the field was a lot more controlled, gave the Wigan forwards time to get some rest, and in fact all of the Wigan players, because a lot of the backs had been suffering from the illness as well the last week or so. So controlled performance from Wigan, particularly in the second half, gave them the win.
Very good. So numbers wise, what stood out?
Well, they indicate that Wigan were just a bit better than Castleford, to be honest, off the back of fewer errors, 8 to 11, and 3 goal line dropouts forced to none. They were able to get 37 more carries, 332 more metres, 2 more breaks, turning that into 2 more tries. John Bateman was outstanding on his return to the side. I said last week how he's been our best player this year, and should be in the Man of Steel conversation, and lived up to that bill. And he played in the centres because that's where we were a bit thinner. this week. He got 2 tries, 10 tackles, 190 metres, 2 clean breaks. Dan Sargentson, another one of these centres turned into a fullback who isn't afraid to hit the line himself rather than pass it. He got 242 metres in this game and combined that with 3 successful offloads. Josh Charnley ran for 147 metres. Sam Powell, despite throwing up on the day of the game and getting himself fixed up to play, 53 tackles, 11 of which are marker tackles. Now, Sam Powell doesn't often be the first man in, but he controls a lot of plays to prevent offloads and that sort of thing, and he's always busy around that. And for a guy who is a halfback playing a hooker, who's undersized, you would say, for some of the tackling he's been putting in, great numbers.
Yeah, it's absolutely. He's definitely grown into the role, hasn't he?
Yeah, for Castleford, Grant Millington with a try and 40 tackles. Ryan Hampshire, like I said, was good under the high kicks and often had a bit more space than you would like to run them back. 144 metres. He was solid enough without showing any sort of anything spectacular, shall we say. Adam Milner, 44 tackles. Andy Lynch, 101 metres.
Very good. Since you bring up John Bateman for Man of Steel, if the season stopped now, who would be your 3-man shortlist for the Man of Steel?
If the season stopped now, after all teams playing each other once, it would be Chris Sandow.
Mm-hmm.
It would be...
We've got Johnny Bateman.
Yeah, John Bateman would be one of them, and then the final one would probably be Andy Lynch.
Do you know what? As I was thinking of asking you this question, I thought Andy Lynch. I just thought, ooh, I don't know.
Or Grant Millington, one of the two.
Grant Millington. I'm going to throw a name in.
Go on.
You might laugh, and I'm not suggesting that he is a genuine Man of Steel contender, but Mike Lawrence.
No.
No?
No.
Tackles up a storm.
For what he does,
meters.
for what he does, is fantastic, but it's not. It's just not Man of Steel.
I would have gone with.
If you said Tom Johnston.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Well, he's a young player candidate, isn't he?
Oh, he's
probably going to win the young player. I would cash that bet now. I would pay out on that if I was a bookie.
I think it's a good shout.
Yeah, definitely. My serious 3, I would have gone with 2 of you on that one. I would have gone Bateman and I would have gone Sandow, and then probably I'd have looked at either Chris Hill or maybe Glenn Stewart
or Ben Curry.
I would have kept Glenn Stewart. Well. Yeah, that's a good shout.
I was thinking of which Catalan player to go for.
I like Glenn Stewart, but I mean the thing is, I was wondering if it's just because I personally admire the guy that I'm putting him in there. But he's in the stats round-up every week.
Yeah, he does. He's doing great effort.
My 3,
he's contributing on both ways as well.
My 3 would have been Bateman, Sandow, and Glenn Stewart. Okay, on to the fan reviews. Tyler Casfan got in touch. Has he stuck his beak into every single game of ours this week? One.
We've got a few.
2. Yeah, I think we've got a 4 hours from Tyler Casfan. Good lad. He said it was a tough one to take. Didn't get our share of the decisions. Thought we would finish the stronger, but Bateman thought otherwise. White Pie said a much better show from Wigan, starting to click in attack, although timing is still a bit off. Good defensive show tonight. Only other stuff to add is Luke Gale is a moaning bastard, and Bentham was awful. Very good. I sense that this Luke Gale thing and this Bentham thing might become a bit of a theme as I read the next few out. Mark Willis said a slow start to the game, 2 poor sides. First 40, Wigan lead by Club and Bateman and took control in the second 40 and merited the win. Fat Boy Rob, I think, is entitled this sour grapes. Says defence is on top for much of the match and the final score flattered the pies to say the least. Wigan knock on at play the ball equals Wigan penalty. Wigan knock on in open play equals it went back. Cass would never give him a chance in this one. Mr. Bentham, sir, you were a cunt. That is a damning indictment of Bentham's performance.
I don't know if Rob's goading a response here or not, because to say the scoreline flattered us, I don't think is fair, given how much we controlled much of the second half. Mm-hmm. I think Cass fans had decided Bentham was against them from the moment I mentioned before, the Mossop offload, which I thought went back, then bounced forwards, but it might have looked to the Cass fans behind the sticks that it went forwards, certainly, because it wasn't a normal sort of pass. It was behind his back and sort of just flung. And then Luke Gale got sin-binned, obviously, off the back of that, and I think they went with their hero rather than with the referee. What a shocker. And I think after that, it kept going that way. I don't remember the Wigan knocking out the player of the ball and getting a penalty incident in terms of I can't think of any of those both ways
Yeah.
of those sorts of incidents at the Ruck that were